Welcome back into the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey. We're breaking down the Cowboys' release of the unofficial depth chart before preseason week 1 gets underway. We'll break down what I think is accurate, what maybe isn't too accurate on that front. Before we get into it, we are in a like battle against the Raiders Report. Right now, it is a kind of a runaway lead between us and my guy Mitch over on the Raiders Report for most likes this month. We are in second place, though. I want to be in first place. Like the video. Let's gain ground. The gap is one video, essentially. So if you haven't already, please and thank you. Like today's show. All right, couple takeaways that we're going to get into here. We'll hit every position group in overall, too. So watch the whole show today. Parent wide receiver battle, which, again, maybe a parent is already clear. There was an or on the depth chart for the Cowboys at the wide receiver spot. Jalen Tolbert or KaVontae Turpin. For those of you that don't know, the or is utilized as they don't want to indicate who the actual starter is. I think part of this is, okay, how does the or get played out? And, what is the context here? Because I think, when they just do their base 11 personnel, 3 receiver set, I think that's probably going to end up being Jalen Tolbert. At least that's how it probably is right now. That Tolbert, when they have not designed stuff for a Turpin or something, Tolbert is kind of like the default wide receiver 3. That doesn't mean, however, if you were power ranking the usage rates and who gets deployed the most, if you're ranking the top 5 skills guys, you might put Turpin over Jalen Tolbert in that regard. There's going to be packages in which KaVontae Turpin is in the backfield as a running back. Well, then Tolbert will probably be your wide receiver 3. There will be times on third downs that they go with, they could go no backs at all and put Turpin and Tolbert both out there together. I kind of wish, Madden's doing this year, CFB26 is doing it. The gadget depth chart spot, that's KaVontae Turpin. Turpin is almost like receiver 4 / running back 3 / running back 4 / athlete 1, kick returner, punt returner 1. There's going to be, I think, some upside involving Turpin of how he gets deployed. And it could even be a scenario where, Tolbert gets more snaps, Turpin got more touches. The overall wide receiver depth chart, by the way, shook out as this. Lamb, Pickens, Tolbert, or Turpin, Cropper behind him, Mingo behind Lamb, Holden behind Mingo, Flanoy behind Brooks, or behind Pickens, Brooks behind Flanoy, which I don't know how accurate it actually ends up being. Skill-wise, impact-wise at receiver, yes. It is worth mentioning that Jalen Brooks actually got the first team reps on special teams against the Rams. That matters. Your other gunner is CJ Goodwin and a big question mark, actually. So if that's Brooks, he probably ends up making the team, even though I'd rather see Trayshawn Holden make the team from a pure wide receiver perspective. I think that, Tolbert, Turpin, Mingo, Pickens, and Lamb are all going to be on this team. That leaves maybe one spot for an additional wide receiver. We'll see what the Cowboys end up deciding. What would you pick? Who would you rather keep as that 6th wide receiver? JB for Jalen Brooks, RF for Ryan Flanoy, TH for Trayshawn Holden. I bet I get a lot of THs and probably very few JBs, but some RFs. O for other. Let me know at the pinned comments of today's show. I think a couple different notable defensive end / edge depth chart takeaways here to discuss. Number 1, Marshawn Kneeland, listed as the other starter opposite Micah Parsons. Base setting does kind of actually make some sense as a run-stopping focused. Tyrus Wheats was listed as a number 2 over Peyton Turner, which I'd be surprised by. Also, Donovan Ezeraku was 4th string. Stop the nonsense. And this was the overall depth chart. Kneeland, Wheat, Turner, Houston as one batch of starters. Parsons, Fowler, Williams, Ezeraku as the other. The left side is more loaded. I think all 4 guys on the left side make the team. And there's a chance only one guy on the right side makes it. Can't totally rule that one out. I don't think Turner is a roster lock necessarily. Even though I think he's more likely than not just from a contract perspective, but we shall see. Houston has shown some promise there. At times with these preseason depth charts, wow, the rookie's super low for no reason. I think this is actually pretty easily solved by just, putting Tyrus Wheat as a 4th or a 3rd and bumping somebody else up. It will be a rotation. You will see all those guys play opposite Micah Parsons. Who ends up playing the most snaps for the Cowboys? DF for Dante Fowler MK for Marshawn Nealon, shout out my wife, SW for Sam Williams, or DE for Donovan Ezeraku? Let me know in the comment section of today's show. Kemon Hall was listed as the starter at the nickel corner spot. It was Hall as CB1 at the nickel, Israel Mukuamu at CB2. I think we're essentially at the point where the best case scenario for the Cowboys is DaRon Bland plays nickel because Kyer Elam, and somebody else, Diggs, whoever, ends up earning the outside spot. The Cowboys have done a bit of both. Bland on the outside, Bland at nickel. It does kind of feel like Kemon Hall is ahead of Izzy Mukuamu, which it worries me. Kemon Hall was potentially a roster player last year for the Cowboys, then got hurt late, but shoot, man, I worry about this cornerback room. The active, healthy outside corners, i.e. outside of, Butler and Bland and Ravel, who are on PUP/NFI lists. DaRon Bland, Kyer Elam, the first team. Kalen Carson, Andrew Booth, the second team. Of note, Carson is currently injured. Andrew Booth has been a bit nicked up, too. Bruce Harmon and Troy Pride, with, Harmon at UDFA and Troy Pride getting reps to the ones and not doing the best stuff. Zion Shoulders, who's done, safety, nickel, outside, all kinds of stuff. Really more safety, nickel stuff than anything. Robert Rochelle is a special teamer. Goodwin, a special teamer who will be on the roster most likely, or at least practice squad. Christian Matthew. It's a thin group, isn't it? That does not inspire confidence if Diggs is not healthy week 1. You can get this Dallas Cowboys hoodie on sale for a limited time. Was $55, now it's just $53. Link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. It's chatsports.com/DAL hoodie. For the third linebacker spot with Jack Sanborn and Kenneth Murray working with the ones for the most part or in nickel packages, there's an or listed at linebacker 3. It's Marist Liufau and Damone Clark. Maybe not too shocking. The linebacker pecking order kind of feels like it's coming into play. The top guys, Kenneth Murray and Jack Sanborn, with Murray missing time with the birth of his kid. Congrats, Kenneth. Sanborn been involved there. So that's left Marist Liufau, Damone Clark, all getting shots to get some more playing time. Shamar James briefly got some reps with the ones earlier this week. Those guys, those 5 make your roster. Do you carry 6 with Justin Barron? Do you work out a discounted contract rate with Damone Clark? Darius Harris, Buddy Johnson, other backups there. They had DeMarvion Overshown behind Kenneth Murray, James, and Harris, which I think probably indicates weak side linebacker for Murray. Sanborn is your middle linebacker. And then asterisks, etc. with strong side and rotation pieces. There's all the guys can play all the spots. I think that's actually a good thing for the Cowboys. Overshown was listed behind Murray. I don't think that matters too much since he's on the PUP list right now. We will be live for every single Cowboys preseason game, so do not miss out. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/@CowboysTV. All right, the offensive line breakdown. There's some guys banged up. I want to acknowledge that. I just kind of wanted to run through how the coaching, or usually the PR department, listed the depth chart for the offensive line. No surprise on your starters. Guyton, Smith, Beebe, Booker, Steele. The second team, I think, mostly matches. There's some asterisks here. Nathan Thomas, TJ Bass, Brock Hoffman, Sadiq Charles, Hakeem Adenijai. Hoffman is getting a lot of work right now at left guard with Tyler Smith banged up because he's your top interior offensive line backup. I don't know how much, if any, that first team's going to play in the preseason. Maybe you give Beebe and Booker a little bit of run, but that's probably the most you do there. So I am curious how that second team offensive line shakes out, who plays where. There will be probably some mid-game adjustments, too, since you're not going to have Robert Jones playing. Awesome Richards has been a left tackle. I think it's Jarian Christian. That's how it's actually pronounced. My bad for botching it earlier. He's mostly been a left side player. Does Lyle Collins play in the preseason game? Shepley's going to be your backup center. Probably a lot of Johnny Cornelius. So the Cowboys' strategy on the offensive line is very clear. They're going to have veteran players or draft picks. And that actually should lead to a better product in the preseason. So rate the Cowboys roster 1 to 99. Then we'll go through the remainder of the depth charts. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. No real surprise on the Cowboys quarterback depth chart. Dak Prescott, Joe Milton, and Will Grier. Don't think we'll see Dak Prescott play in the preseason. Shoddy's comments made it sound like that they didn't want to jeopardize Milton getting worse because they need him for the preseason game. I mean, there's the nightmare scenario of Milton can't go, and then Will Grier gets banged up, and now you literally don't have a corner or a quarterback to play in the preseason. That would be funny in a bad way. Who would be the emergency QB at that point? Like probably one of your receivers who can throw the ball. I don't know. It'd be bad. So we'll keep an eye on that. Like if you see the Cowboys work somebody out, that means that they're worried about the Joe Milton injury. Running back wise, Javonte Williams, then Miles Sanders, then Jaden Blue, then Deuce Vaughn, then Phil Maffa. Blue over Vaughn, worth noting, probably pretty accurate. Hunter Lipke will make this team as a fullback / running back / tight end / everything. Tight end depth chart is exactly what we have shown before. Jake Ferguson, Luke Schoonmaker, Brevin Spanford's obviously banged up. They listed John Stevens over Princeton Fant. I kind of think that's been flipped now, like with the way they've actually played so far. Then Rivaldo Fairweather and Tyler Neville as the undrafted free agents at tight end. Defensive tackle-wise, is worth mentioning. Osa Odigizua, then Solomon Thomas, Ernest Brown IV, maybe the most forgotten man on this Cowboys entire roster. Like like if you were to try to name all the players, it might be the last name people end up getting on. Tommy Akambasote, very quiet so far. He's the fourth guy. Mozzie Smith, Jay Toia, Perrion Winfrey, Denzel Daxon. Kind of sorts out as 3 techniques, 1 techniques, even though there is some position flex for all those guys. Safety-wise, Cowboys did it again. They listed Marquise Bell behind Malik Hooker. I don't really think that that's accurate. I think Marquise Bell is more of a strong safety, and Wanye Thomas can do more free safety stuff. But the Cowboys have always done that on their depth charts for some reason on that front. Then it's Mike Smith is another option, and Elijah Clark. We'll see a lot of those guys in the preseason. I think you'll see Zion Childers get some safety run as well. Special teamers, Brandon Aubrey, Brian Anger, Trent Sig. Hopefully we don't mention their names, especially the long snapper outside of, made the team. Moving on. The returners. And this is the one that always changes the most, once we get to actual games, because the preseason, they're not going to put KaVontae Turpin back there, really. There's no reason to. Wanye Thomas is banged up. Deuce Vaughn might be banged up a little bit. So I am extremely curious who else gets run at kick returner and punt returner. Jalen Cropper's done it some. I kind of want to see Jaden Blue back there. Is he a bit too valuable for what the plan is in the running back room? They're probably not going to throw Tolbert out there as an emergency punt returner. So, can one of the other receivers step up? Thought it was going to be Paris Campbell, but he's on IR and then got cut from IR. So this is one I'm certainly going to watch during the preseason.